Beep, 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 beep. Morning all. Welcome to Jesters News this morning. Just a few things to cover today. This is becoming a regular thing. You're keeping me busy. What can I tell you? I keep getting stuff sent to me and all sorts of questions asked, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong. Just join my bloody Patreon so I can find a way to keep doing this and doing more of it. I'll put the links in the duper as usual, or become warrior teacher, which of course is what I'm going to say now at the beginning of everything I do. Well, what have we got going on here? Well, I thought you might like to hear a bit of good news first, so I'm going to give you some good news to start us off this morning. One of the most important things about this fight, and those of us that are involved in trying to help out in some way to bring reality back to this nonsensical year that is 2022, is looking after yourself. So I want to talk about that briefly. It's important to look after yourself. You've got to take a break occasionally, and I'm a bugger for doing that because I've been self-employed for 30 years and work becomes your life and life becomes your work. It's not like going to 9 to 5 or going to 2 to 10 or, you know, having a specific place to be. It's often feast or famine. So you've got to look after yourself, right? That's the first thing. So yesterday I thought, right, I'm going to look after myself tomorrow. So I got up in the morning, did my work as I usually do. Totally didn't look after myself at all. And then my mate messaged and said, look, you know, let's meet up later and go out and have a drink. So out we went for a few bevies, right? Okay. So there was just the two of us, and then before you knew it, there were 4 of us. Ah, yes, a group of gay men, or as I call it, a gossip of gay men, or a foursome of faggotry. You take your pick, right? So we went and we had a lovely afternoon, conversation. They had some food, and what I was interested to discover, there were people there from 18 to 58. Okay. Was to hear the younger people tell me that there's a conversation taking place in the community. Okay, that the stuff I've been putting up is being listened to, and that people are starting to say, hang on a minute, what he's saying's making sense. I took great comfort from that, and I hope you will too. It means that we're seeing a possible awakening of what is happening, and conversations taking place, and people questioning what it is that they've been told to believe for so long. There's the good news for the day, and I'm going to take that one. Sorry, folks, I'm going to take it, right, okay? And then we've got a couple of other things going on here, right? In the Telegraph this morning and whatever, and I was chatting to Clive yesterday online about this chap, Mews, from Mermaids. Oh, Mr. Mews, what did you do? Right? Residential weekends, apparently. He didn't do them. I don't imagine so, but it said he could have done them. What the hell was he thinking, right? Oh, of course he wasn't thinking, was he? Right? Let's get this straight. From my perspective, humans can be kinky. All of us, some of us, maybe a few of us, but we can be kinky, right? And if you don't believe me, go and watch Personal Services. It's on BBC iPlayer at the moment. It's fantastic. It was directed by one of the Pythons, Terry Jones, I think, directed it. And it stars the marvellous Julie Walters, who is not, of course, representative in any way of Cynthia Payne. And it's funny, right? It's about hookers and brothels and bondage and sex parties and dirty old men, right? Okay? And it's funny. It's a genuinely good film. So that's on BBC iPlayer. Go and watch that. Brits have always been kinky. Right? There's something about us, because we've always been a bit repressed, haven't we? We don't like to talk about sex. All a bit, you know, don't frighten the horses. You know, it's all a bit like, you know, ripped bodices, isn't it? And, oh, Mr. Darcy. Right? So we've always been a bit like that about sex. There's a massive difference between being a kinky bugger, right? And doing, you know, the stuff that you would not want your best friend to know, let alone your worst enemy. And then doing it and putting it online, right? Then doing it and putting it online. And then going to work for a children's charity. You wanker. Okay? Now, some women and some men live hypersexualized lives. Many gay men live hypersexualized lives. Keep going. Right, we do. Okay. Be a very small person. So, I don't, you know, he's a problem because of what he's done, and then gone to work for a children's charity. Has there been an issue? We need to look. We need to look. Safeguarding. See, we need to look, right? But, you know, Mermaids refuse to say whether or not he still worked there. Just, even now, they won't be transparent. Even when this happens, they won't be transparent. But Mews, you know, we have to have a look and see what's been going on. But this is a lesson for other stupid men, or for that matter, women, anybody. Don't flail about in public with your breasticles waving in the air, or your arse piece open to all, unless you're Jermaine Greer, right? Who could get away with it when she did it at the time, with her, you know, legs over the head and exposition there, you know, over planetary circloids. So don't, right? Doesn't make any sense to do it. And certainly don't do it if you think you're going to go work for a children's charity. What was he thinking? Daft sod, right? Okay, so that was the first thing that I got to this morning, the Telegraph, talking about Mews bits. What he's been doing with his willy. Right. Mermaids are in trouble, aren't they? It's delicious. Right, okay, so then, this morning I had another article from the Telegraph sent to me about transgender schools guidance. Apparently there is the National Education Union's Trans and Non-Binary Network. Why is that even a thing? What? Really? Why is that even a thing? Go away. Right, so the Trans and Non-Binary Network have said that to participate in discussion or debate about their rights and or identities is transphobic. Yep. There's the usual story in it, no debate. Yep. You know why? Because it's made up. That's why. Because your identity is made up. Being dysphoric is an identity. The draft proposal, bear this in mind, because the Telegraph aren't, you know, being sensible here, and I'll say why in a minute. The draft proposal of transphobia definition, seen by the Telegraph, also cited propagating ideas, concepts and misinformation harmful to trans people and which erase and ignore trans history. No such thing. And such as trans as an ideology or contagion. It's both. Right? It's both. Right? Now, the problem is they keep using the word trans. So first things first today, stop using the word trans. Your first question of anybody that uses it, posting it, speaking about it, is, do you mean people with dysphoria? That's the only question you have to ask. Start doing it today. And if they say no, then don't waste your time with them because they're, you know, zealots who are inculcated in this funny cult, right? Do you mean people with dysphoria? If so, say so. If not, who do you mean? Right? Because if not, it's just a belief system and we can dismiss it just as much as we would Christianity, Islam, Catholicism, Hinduism, Sikhism, Zarathustranism, or anything else you want to ism away, right? Right, so, and here's the best bit, of course, because it always is this. The policy neither outline what is meant by trans history, nor what ideas, concepts and misinformation would be considered harmful to trans people. What they're essentially saying is don't speak to us. That's okay. I can do that, right? It further defined transphobia as a rejection of trans identities and a refusal to acknowledge that those identities are real or valid. They aren't. They're only real to you, not real to anybody else. You don't get to do that. And also, transphobia is the incorrect use of pronouns. Well, there's hundreds of them. What do you want us to talk to? Remember them? Don't play the game. So do you mean people with dysphoria, which is the first question. The second one is, I don't do pronouns, I don't believe in your religion, and I don't affirm people who are delusional. That's your big four, right? Okay. A whistleblower close to the teaching union, I mean, I wish that was literally true. They're all over the conversation and somebody just walked in and went, that's enough of that shit, right? A whistleblower close to the teaching union told the Telegraph, I'm extremely worried by this. I'm from a left-wing background and I hate this nonsense. Not political, cultural folks. Remember, culture upstream of politics. We need free speech. Women need safe spaces. If this definition is accepted, anyone who says you can't logically self-identify as the opposite sex, you'll be a transphobe. The source added, it will mean that teachers will be too scared to speak up in schools and they will go along with the NEU policy. Now, this comes out at the same time as some chap who's the education fumbler, right, up in Parliament, right, up in Parliament, has said that, you know, there's going to be some sensible proposals on transgender in schools, right? Whatever is up in arms about that, you bet your bottom dollar we're up in arms about it, right? There is no sensible option. This is not an either-or. Okay? This is an anti-Western, anti-human, anti-reality cult. Okay? The sooner you get your head around that, the better. And we do not negotiate with them. Right? Because what they are is linguistic and ontological terrorists. Or as I call them, lots. Right? Lots of crap, lots of nonsense, lots of annoyance, lots of lunacy. Right? That's what they are. So, which leads me nicely to what happened when I got back last night. Because I'd had a bevy, right? So there was I, bleary-eyed, trying to watch Star Trek 6, right? So I go on Twitter and I start looking and I see something, don't read it properly, and then open my big mouth, okay? So John Pike, thanks for that, the nod, John, saying, did you get the wrong end of the stick? And I think I probably did, right? Okay, so I was looking at what John had to say. And it's not so much that I got the wrong end of the stick, as well I got the wrong end of the stick about what John was saying. And what John was saying was that he thought that he had come across, in regards to sports and transgenderism, a glossary that was workable, right? And I said, no, it's not, it's utter nonsense, right? And I said it without reading it properly, because I was 4 sheets to the wind and full of kebab. Now, so, I had a look this morning. I was right. See, I can do this crap even when I'm 4 sheets to the wind and full of kebab. Right, so we've got here. It's all in the Duberis downstairs. You know, on the description, you can have a look at it all. This UK Parliament thing, they're really caving to this stuff. And I'm very, very surprised after the strength of feeling on other areas that they're caving to this crap. Why? Didn't get it. So they've got this terminology that they're going to use in this report. And here's what they say about the terminology. Sex generally refers to biological and physical characteristics, blah, blah, blah. It is a protected characteristic, yep. And defined in binary terms. Well, you don't need that line. Get it out. Sex and gender are sometimes used interchangeably and often conflated. No. Sex is sex. Gender is an American term. Say so. And they've got gender is not defined in UK law. Right, in that case, you don't need it in this. It's immaterial in the definition. Immaterial. Get it out. They're going beyond the law. They're just doing it craftily, right? Gender identity refers to an individual's self-perception and can include a range of identities. Well, where are they? Such as non-binary, when someone does not exclusively identify as male or female. A person's gender identity may not match their sex registered at birth. It's observed at birth, not registered. You can't both sides this. There is no both sides. Okay? There's the body healthy and the infection. If the UK is the body healthy, this is the infection. And I know people don't want to hear that. And I don't mean the people, I don't mean individuals. I mean gender identity ideology, I mean queer theory, I mean critical social justice. There is no two sides to this. Right? So, gender identity. This should say, gender identity was a made-up concept that was coined by a paedophile called John Money in the 1960s. Some people believe this is real. Those people are wrong. And then it says transgender is an umbrella term for a person with gender identity, whose gender identity is different from the sex registered at birth. That's not true. Transgender also includes eunuchs, drag queens, old Mother Riley, you know, the Brady Bunch, and anybody else you want to stick under it. This has got to stay. It's got to change, right? Don't use the word transgender. Use transsexualist, the one used in law. Gender reassignment is a protected characteristic of the Equality Act. It is, and that's the problem. We need to repeal the GRA. Okay. Transitioning is when an individual changes their gender presentation. That's not what the public thought it was. That's not what they thought it was Hayley Cropper, right? Not some 6'2" bloke with his knob out in Woolworths. All right? Right, so that's what John was saying. You know, it's not workable at all. There is no compromise. Stop both siding it. There is no two sides, right? It's like saying, well, you know, I can live with the flu permanently. Again, not people. Ideas, okay? I can live with the flu permanently. You can't. It's right, one or t'other. And then it says there are an increasing number of openly transgender athletes participating in elite and recreational sports. There are an increasing number of cheats. That's it, right? Every time a male pretending to be a female takes a place in a women's sports team, a woman is ousted. It is a men's rights movement, right? So respect and kudos to John and everybody else at the OU who are doing great work on this front. There aren't two sides, guys. All right, okay? Come on, let's stop f***ing about, all right? You can't both side it, right? Now, it's Wednesday. I'm going swimming. It's not it all. I'm going to go and float this vapidly stupid body of mine in the water, right? So, today's lessons. From the Jester News ask, don't put your genitals all over the bloody internet and then decide you're going to work for children when you actually support weird shit like queer theory that wants to get them in bed. Right, that's the first thing. Don't do it. Stupid, right? Oh, Mr. Mew, what did you do? The second thing is, we can all be a bit kinky. Let's not go too far, right? Okay, watch Personal Services. It's on iPlayer, okay? And then we've got the third thing is, for God's sake, Macduff, or whatever your name is, up there in the government doing the education thing, there aren't two sides to this. Stop it. And then finally, the third thing is, yeah, we're not having that glossary. But thanks for pointing it out, John. At least to give me a chance to have a look at it. Not convinced, mate. Not happening, okay? So, all that's new and approved from the Jesters. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.